Mahabharat, an Indian saga, before time learned to count itself, before kingdoms rose and fell like shadows at sunset. There was a story whispered by the wind, carried by rivers, and written in the hearts of humanity. This is not merely a tale of kings and warriors. This is a mirror held up to the human soul. In the vast land of Bharata, where the Himalayas touch the sky and the Ganga flows like a silver thread through destiny, every choice carries the weight of eternity. Here, love becomes sacrifice, power becomes burden, and duty becomes the path between heaven and earth. Brothers will stand as allies and as enemies. Fathers will bless and curse. Gods will walk among mortals, not to change fate, but to reveal it. This is the story of honor tested by desire, of loyalty challenged by ambition, of war born from a single roll of the dice, and peace sought in the depths of the soul. Close your eyes. Breathe in the echoes of an ancient world, because what you are about to hear is not just the Mahabharata. It is the story of who we are. Chapter 1. The Call of Destiny. In the dawn of time, when the world still remembered the footsteps of the gods, the land of Bharata stretched from snow-capped mountains to endless oceans. Rivers were worshipped as mothers, the sky was seen as a father, and every human life was believed to be a thread in the vast tapestry of destiny. In the grand city of Hastinapura, built along the sacred river Ganga, reigned King Shantanu, a ruler known for justice, compassion, and a heart that longed for connection beyond power. His palace shone with marble halls, echoing corridors, and courtyards where scholars debated the nature of the soul and warriors trained beneath the open sky. One night, under a moon that glowed like a silver eye watching the world, Shantanu walked along the riverbank. There, he saw a woman whose presence made the wind fall silent. She moved like flowing water, and when she spoke, her voice carried the sound of distant rain. She was Ganga, the river goddess, walking among mortals. Their love was swift and powerful, and they were wed beneath the stars. But Ganga placed one condition: Shantanu must never question her actions. From their union were born 7 sons. One by one, Ganga carried each child into the river, returning them to the divine realm. Shantanu's heart shattered. Yet he remained silent, bound by his promise. When the 8th child was born, Shantanu could no longer bear it. He cried out, and Ganga revealed the truth. These children were cursed celestial beings, freed through her actions. She left, but she placed the final child into Shantanu's arms. This child was Devavrata. Devavrata grew into a prince of unmatched brilliance, skilled in weapons, devoted to truth, and guided by a mind as sharp as a warrior's blade. Yet destiny demanded a sacrifice greater than any sword could cut. When Shantanu fell in love again, the bride's father demanded that his grandson inherit the throne. To protect his father's happiness, Devavrata stood before the kingdom and made a vow that shook the heavens. He vowed eternal celibacy. He vowed loyalty to the throne, not to power. The gods themselves rained flowers from the sky. From that moment, Devavrata became Bhishma, the terrible in resolve, the eternal guardian of Hastinapura. Chapter 2. Seeds of Kings and Shadows. After Shantanu's passing, the throne of Hastinapura rested under Bhishma's watchful eye. Kings rose and fell, guided by his wisdom, his discipline, and his unbreakable oath. From the royal line were born 2 princes, Dhritarashtra and Pandu. Dhritarashtra, the elder, was blind, yet his mind was sharp and his emotions deep like a hidden river. Pandu, the younger, was fierce, athletic, and admired by the people. The crown passed to Pandu, not by desire, but by necessity. A king, it was believed, must see the suffering and joy of his people. Dhritarashtra married Gandhari, a woman of extraordinary devotion. Upon learning of her husband's blindness, she blindfolded herself for life, choosing to share his darkness rather than see a world he could not. Pandu married Kunti and Madri and ruled with courage. But during a hunt, he struck down a sage in disguise. With his dying breath, the sage cursed him. If Pandu ever embraced his wives in love, death would claim him. Haunted and broken, Pandu abandoned the throne and retreated into the forest. Yet the royal bloodline continued through divine blessing. Kunti invoked a sacred mantra and called upon the gods. From Dharma came Yudhishthira, born with a soul bound to truth. From Vayu came Bhima, a child with the strength of storms. From Indra came Arjuna, destined for glory and sacrifice. Madri called upon the Ashwini twins, giving birth to Nakula and Sahadeva, graceful, wise, and loyal. In the palace of Hastinapura, Gandhari gave birth to 100 sons, her eldest being Duryodhana, proud, ambitious, and burning with the desire to rule. Thus, 2 destinies were born under one sky. Chapter 3. Fire in the House of Brothers. The princes grew together within the same palace walls, trained by Dronakarya, the master of warfare, who believed discipline was the path to honor. Each morning, the sound of conch shells marked the start of training. The dust of the courtyard rose as young warriors clashed, stumbled, and rose again. Arjuna's skill became legend even in his youth. His arrows struck their targets as if guided by unseen hands. Duryodhana, strong and proud, felt the shadow of Arjuna's brilliance fall across his own achievements. His envy hardened into hatred. Then came Karna, born of Kunti and the sun god, abandoned at birth, raised by a charioteer, yet carrying the fire of a king within his blood. When the princes mocked him for his low birth, Duryodhana crowned him king of Anga, earning his eternal loyalty. Plots formed in whispers and shadows. Bhima was poisoned. A palace of wax was built to burn the Pandavas alive, but fate shielded them. Disguised as wanderers, they journeyed through forests and kingdoms, witnessing both the suffering and beauty of the world they would one day rule. At the Swayamvara of Princess Draupadi, Arjuna performed the impossible, striking the eye of a spinning fish by looking only at its reflection. Draupadi became the wife of all 5 brothers, bound by divine design. Her presence became both their strength and their greatest trial. Chapter 4. The Hall of Fate. The great assembly hall of Hastinapura rose like a mountain of stone and gold. Pillars carved with lions and lotus flowers stretched toward the ceiling, and silken banners whispered in the warm air. Kings from distant lands sat in rows, their jeweled crowns reflecting torchlight, their eyes filled with curiosity and pride. At the center of this grandeur stood a single low table. Upon it rested a pair of dice. Shakuni, uncle to Duryodhana, moved with the calm of a serpent. His smile was soft, but his mind burned with calculation. He invited Yudhishthira to play, not as an enemy, but as a relative, wrapped in the language of honor and tradition. Yudhishthira hesitated. He knew the dangers of gambling, but he also knew the laws of kingship. A kshatriya could not refuse a challenge extended in public. The first roll echoed like thunder. Jewels changed hands. Gold slipped away. The kingdom itself, fields, villages, rivers, and people, was lost with a single careless throw. Yudhishthira's hands trembled, but he continued, bound by a code stronger than fear. He wagered Bhima, he lost. He wagered Arjuna, he lost. He wagered Nakula and Sahadeva, he lost. Finally, with hollow eyes and a breaking heart, he wagered himself and lost. Shakuni's dice clattered once more across the stone floor. In a moment that shattered the soul of the court, Yudhishthira spoke Draupadi's name. The hall fell silent. Draupadi was summoned. She entered with her head held high, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. She asked a question that would echo through eternity. Did my husband lose me before he lost himself, or after? Elders lowered their eyes. Warriors shifted uncomfortably. No one answered. Dushasana lunged forward, grabbing her hair, trying to strip her of dignity before the world. Draupadi closed her eyes and prayed. Krishna answered. Her sari flowed without end, spilling like a river of light across the floor. The court watched in awe and shame. At last, Dhritarashtra, shaken by fear of divine wrath, granted Draupadi boons, the freedom of her husbands and the return of their honor. But Shakuni demanded one final game. The dice rolled again. The Pandavas lost. Exile was declared. 12 years in the forest, 1 year in hiding. The path to war was sealed. Chapter 5. The Kingdom of Exile. The forest opened before the Pandavas like an endless ocean of green. Ancient trees stood like silent guardians, their roots tangled in the stories of forgotten ages. Rivers sang to the stones, and the wind carried the voices of wandering sages. Clad in bark and simple cloth, the princes who once walked marble halls now slept beneath the stars. Each day brought new trials. They met sages who tested their humility and demons who tested their courage. Draupadi, born to a palace of silk and servants, walked barefoot upon thorned paths, her strength becoming the invisible pillar that held her family upright. Yudhishthira encountered a mystical lake guarded by a celestial being. One by one, his brothers drank its waters and fell lifeless. When Yudhishthira answered the guardian's riddles about life, death, and righteousness, the brothers were restored, and Yudhishthira learned that wisdom is the greatest power of all. Arjuna climbed icy peaks and entered the realm of the gods. He faced Shiva disguised as a hunter and proved his worth in battle and humility. From the heavens, he received divine weapons capable of ending entire armies. Bhima fought mighty Rakshasas, defending sages and villages, becoming a living legend among the forest folk. Nakula and Sahadeva mastered healing, diplomacy, and the languages of nature. The exile did not break them. It forged them. Chapter 6. The Year of Shadows. The 13th year arrived. The year the Pandavas had to live unseen. They entered the kingdom of Matsya in disguise. Yudhishthira became a humble court advisor. Bhima served as a cook, hiding his storm-like strength beneath simple labor. Arjuna lived as Brihanala, teaching dance and music to the princess, his warrior's hands now guiding delicate steps. Nakula and Sahadeva tended horses and cattle, learning the rhythms of ordinary life. Draupadi became a maid, enduring insults and danger with silent fire in her eyes. When a powerful general tried to claim her by force, Bhima answered with righteous fury in the dark of night. As war clouds gathered, Arjuna revealed himself, defeating entire armies with celestial weapons, protecting the kingdom that sheltered them. Their year ended, their identities were revealed. The world prepared for war. Chapter 7. The Last Attempt at Peace. Before the drums of war could drown the land, Krishna rode to Hastinapura. His chariot rolled through streets lined with citizens who whispered prayers for peace. In the royal court, he stood before Dhritarashtra, Bhishma, Drona, and Duryodhana. Krishna spoke not as a king, but as the conscience of the world. He spoke of fields that would burn, of mothers who would search for sons among the dead, of a future written in grief. He asked for only 5 villages, a symbol of humility and hope. Duryodhana rose in anger. He declared that even if the earth itself were torn apart, he would not yield. He ordered Krishna arrested. In response, Krishna revealed a glimpse of his divine form, the universe blazing within him. The court fell to its knees, but Duryodhana's heart did not bend. Peace was lost. Chapter 8. The Song of the Universe. Kurukshetra stretched like a sea of steel and banners. The air vibrated with the sound of war drums and conch shells. Arjuna stood in his chariot, his bow Gandiva heavy in his hands. He saw Bhishma, the grandfather who raised him. He saw Drona, the teacher who shaped his soul. He saw Karna, the warrior whose fire matched his own. His heart broke. Tears filled his eyes. He lowered his bow and turned to Krishna. Krishna spoke of the eternal soul, of duty without attachment, of action as worship. He revealed his cosmic form, countless worlds rising and falling within his body. Arjuna bowed. The Bhagavad Gita became a light for all who seek purpose. The first arrow was released. Chapter 9. The 18 Days of Destiny. Day 1 to Day 10. Bhishma commanded the Kaurava forces, cutting through armies like a storm. Arjuna, bound by love and respect, hesitated, until Krishna guided him to strike the unstrikable. Bhishma fell, choosing the moment of his own death, lying upon a bed of arrows beneath the open sky, teaching wisdom even as life faded from his body. Days 11 to 15, Drona took command. His strategies were flawless, his heart torn between loyalty and love for Arjuna. When he heard of his son Ashwatthama's death, a lie spoken as truth, his will shattered, and he fell in battle. Day 16. Karna and Arjuna faced each other at last. Brothers bound by blood and fate, neither aware of their shared birth. When Karna's chariot wheel sank into the earth, Arjuna's arrow flew. The sun dimmed, and the world mourned. Day 17. Bhima shattered Duryodhana's army, fulfilling his vow of vengeance. Day 18. The war reached its final breath. Chapter 10. The Broken Prince. Duryodhana fled to a quiet lake, hiding beneath its waters, his dreams of empire sinking into silence. Bhima challenged him to a final duel. They met on the riverbank, maces in hand, bodies scarred by 18 days of bloodshed. They fought like ancient titans. The earth cracked beneath their feet. Guided by Krishna, Bhima struck a forbidden blow, shattering Duryodhana's thigh. Duryodhana fell. As life faded from his eyes, he spoke of friendship, loyalty, and the cruelty of fate. The crown he chased lay beyond his reach. Chapter 11. Night of Ashes. While the victors slept, Ashwatthama crept into the Pandava camp. Driven by grief and rage, he unleashed destruction. Draupadi's sons were slain in their sleep. The stars watched in silence. At dawn, the Pandavas found only ashes where hope once rested. Krishna intervened, preventing the world from being destroyed by divine weapons loosed in anger. The war ended, but peace did not come. Chapter 12. The Long Farewell. Yudhishthira ascended the throne, ruling with justice and humility. Years passed. The scars of war faded from the land, but not from memory. At last, the brothers laid down their crowns and walked north, toward the white peaks of the Himalayas. Draupadi fell first, bound by hidden pride. One by one, the brothers followed, each carrying a final human flaw. Only Yudhishthira walked on, accompanied by a loyal dog. At the gates of heaven, he refused to enter without his companion. The dog revealed itself as Dharma. Yudhishthira stepped into eternity. Chapter 13. The Eternal Flame. The Mahabharata does not live only in temples or books. It lives in every human choice, in every moment where power challenges compassion, where anger challenges forgiveness. This is not just a story of gods and kings. It is the story of the human heart. If this timeless journey moved you, let these echoes of destiny guide your own path. Subscribe and return for more stories that awaken the soul.